Here's a story that kind of bubbled up this week for me. I kind of read it a few years ago, and it's supposed to be by Rumi, but is also said to be much older than Rumi, thousands of years old probably. It comes from Persia. Long ago, there was a merchant who traded across the whole of the region around Baghdad. He went as far afield as India, trading in silks, jewellery, and whatever he could make money from. He did very well. He did extraordinarily well, and had many things in his grand house in Baghdad. But his pride and joy was a parrot, and not just any parrot. This parrot could sing songs that were so beautiful people would swoon when they heard them. It could also talk. And the merchant would bring people to see the parrot and get it to talk to them. It had a fine voice, and it was not just mimicking people, it was actually talking to them, as far as they could tell. It was a beautiful bird. Beautiful. It was so beautiful, the merchant kept it in a gold cage on the top of a tower. It was a small cage, but it was extraordinary, covered in diamonds and jewels. And the bird wanted for nothing. It was fed whatever it wanted. It was indeed a prized possession. Now one day, the merchant decided that he would go and trade in India. And feeling generous, he asked all the people around him what gifts they would like to be brought back from India. And, unusually, he asked his parrot what it would like to be brought back by way of a gift. The parrot sighed and said, "Sir, I only asked for one thing. Could you seek out the other parrots in India that fly free, that fly through the forest, that fly across the fields, that fly in the air, and if you see them, can you ask them how I too can be free?" The merchant was a bit taken aback by this, but agreed to do it. He set off and went to India to trade where he had traded before, and he did very well. He brought all the gifts for all the people around him. At the end of a long hot day, he was sitting in a rose garden, having a drink of tea, when he heard a flock of parrots above his head, and he remembered what the parrot had asked him. One of the parrots floated down slowly onto the ground in front of him, and he saw his opportunity. He leant forward and said exactly what the other parrot had asked. The little bird in front of him looked up at him. Sorry about the background noise. There's a plane going overhead. The little bird looked up at him, took one breath, and fell down dead. Dead in front of the merchant. He was shocked. What have I done? What have I done? It was just a question. What can I do? But there was nothing he could do. The bird was dead. With a heavy heart, he set off home. He had all the gifts for all his other members of his household and his friends. But he had this message for the bird, his own favourite bird, the other parrot. How was he to tell the parrot what had happened when he repeated the question she had asked him? He returned home across the desert and was met by all his servants coming rushing out. "Sir, sir, what do you have for us? What do you have for us?" And with great joy he handed the gifts and presents. And then he heard a squeaking, a calling. It was the parrot. "Sir, sir, what do you have for me?" With a heavy heart he made his way up to where he kept his parrot, in the golden cage. "I have nothing for you," he said. "But you must. You promised," said the parrot. "You promised me that you would ask my question of my cousins in India." with a heavy heart, the merchant turned to the parrot and told her exactly what had happened. The bird in the cage dropped her head and fell dead in the cage and flopped to the bottom of the cage. The merchant was astonished. It's happened again. What am I to do? Oh dear. Crying, he opened the cage door and pulled out the parrot and placed it on the nearby windowsill where the sun was just catching. As he did so, the parrot came alive again and flew up into the air and flew higher and higher, and the merchant saw the beautiful wings it had and the beauty it had. It turned back to him. I am free. My cousins told me that through death I can throw away everything and be free.